obviously honored it with your attendance, and please, questions as they come to your head, if you have to write them down. I'd love to be able to field those questions as we come, because we have some time here. In a lot of ways, that interactivity would add a lot of layers to this, and you never know, that question you're asking is probably one that 4 or 5 other people have too, so don't be shy. If I do ignore your question, it's not that I don't think it's a great question, I'm just worried you're stealing my thunder, because we're probably going to cover it later on in here, so I want to keep things flowing through, and then give you guys 2 presentations that we've been going around giving at various clinics, conventions, to various teams, and focusing this first one obviously around tackling, the second one this afternoon more about how you increase practice tempo, intensity, and do it all the while where you get the best out of you guys, but you're also keeping them safe. I think that's so important, and it's one of the things I think we should strive to achieve, is getting guys better and keeping them healthy, because in football it is a bit of a 100% injury rate. In fact, you could say that in probably every sport. Can we improve our chances a little bit, or at least lessen the severity, the occurrences of said injuries? We can if we use our experiences, we use scientifically what's validated, and we communicate it most effectively. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves to do. And we are kind of we're coaches for hire, so to speak. Strength and conditioning coaching mercenaries. If I may be so bold, but I think it's a fun thing being able to take this not only for football but for all sports, seeing the things that football does well, what wrestling does well, what mixed martial arts, soccer, lacrosse, what all these sports do well to get the most out of their athletes. That way the coaches are able to give the tactics, the strategy that you specialize in. Can we make your job a little easier? Well, we hope so. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with my background. I've coached gridiron, I've coached American football, and understand and appreciate it. I think what got me down this path was a real penchant for strength conditioning, to getting the most out of your physical body and your mind too, and the way they overlap in a competitive environment. I emphasize that. Sure, this has a fitness component to it, it always does. But things change, as you know very well, when the fog of war comes in. And what we practice on the field changes when the Friday night lights turn on, when the cheerleaders start cheering, the bands start playing. And how do we create an environment, say similar, at least a learning pathway, so that there is a transfer to the grass. And that's why everything has got to show up on the field where it counts. Otherwise, we're just, we're wearing out shoes and jock straps. Kind of like I said, football at the Air Force Academy, got to coach there for a couple years before I had my chance to play with the big boys. Olympic Training Center, I had the chance to be there for about a year, volunteering my time, helping out coaching, seeing what elite athletes do in a very specific realm of sport. It was a great learning experience. Right now, I spend a lot of my time with professional elite amateur athletes and teams, finding solutions where maybe it's a bit of an intangible question that they might have, or it's a little bit of a steeper learning curve to be able to get that 1% better, especially in the areas of professional elite. So time is of the essence, clarity is of the essence, because what you say and sometimes what you don't say makes a tremendous impact on how people learn. Not only my experience as a coach, but what I learned at the Air Force Academy as far as warfare psychology has played into this and has motivated me to learn more. Certified through USA Weightlifting to teach the platform lifts, and through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. For the most part, just giving me a little bit of a formal backbone to my life applications, the things I did well, the things I did not so well. They're probably about even. This isn't just a regurgitation of everything I did. It's a compilation. It's an honoring of every coach, and a lot of you are in this room. Honoring the great things you did. Is there a way that everyone could get a slice of that? And that's kind of what motivated us to compile all this. This last one here, I want to kind of save it for last, because I think it's interesting, especially for tackling, to bring this forth. The Blauer Tactical Defensive Tactics certification is meant for elite warfare fighting individuals, people who are fighting beyond just the normal competitive realm. They're fighting for life and limb. So understanding that psychology in a small slice, equating it to what a 14-year-old goes through, because on the field, the pads are on, he's been stifled 8 hours a day sitting in school, and now he's got to become a tackling animal or a competitor. seeing psychologically what can hold him back in the case of football, are similar tenets to what a war fighter will use when it does come down to them using their hands on another person, especially another person that possibly wants to do them harm too, but that's definitely the case with this. And I think with what we want to cover with Tackling 101 is being able to teach kids how to tackle someone who doesn't want to be tackled. I'm not talking about tackling a sled or a blindside shot or where you're just doing a tackling drill. I'm talking about tackling another living, breathing person who has willpower, wants to impose his will on you, and now vice versa. You're looking to give yours to him. How do we bring a guy like that down? And that's why we're here. We've got to increase our ability to do that. We want to do it and being safe. And I think I can speak to everyone in this room. Just by the fact you're here, there's a certain pride you have in the craftsmanship that come to being a coach. Now, everything, especially your head coaches, having to organize a lot of the game plans, being able to fundraise, being able to deal with parents, handling all the ins and outs that come with the job is rewarding, but I've just got to believe from the experience of the coaches I know, my own father, myself, the coaching, the getting down, boots on the ground, shoulder to shoulder with the athletes and really being able to coach and relate to them. Maybe sometimes putting your hands on a little bit in the most appropriate and best of ways is probably the funnest part of the job. And that's kind of what we want to be here to go over, some of the things that are fun to do. And really what we'd like to be able to say is let's start teaching tackling now. Let's not wait until the equipment comes on, the armor comes on, and now the adrenaline's there. I say let's start teaching the skill, the technique, all the things that go into making great tacklers in January or is it March 13th? We can start now. That's the idea behind it. All right, what is a tackle? All right, so as we sort of looked at a lot of film, and then too, this was looking at Australian rules, football, rugby, other sports, even soccer, I can say, where there's a slide tackle. What is the idea behind that, especially for those sports that have a line of scrimmage, especially in football? And that's really it. The tackle is sort of justified by its result. We establish a new line of scrimmage, preferably in our favor. In understanding that, we can obviously rank, quantify, subjectively judge what are more effective tackles and which aren't. It's more than just getting the guy down. It's setting a tempo. It's setting a tone. It's doing it safely, doing it so you can reproduce it again and again. And I think those are where we really get into common attributes. I think this is largely subjective, but kind of what we'll go through today as we sort of define, especially for coaches, defining the stages, the phases of a good tackle. Maybe we can start pinpointing ways in which the athlete, the tackler, is doing it well and where he can improve. Because I don't think everyone's just, there's guys